So today we have Dr. Rohrig with us, and she's going to talk about the AVMA, which is...
So the AVMA is the American Veterinary Medical Association, and it's basically our national parent organization for our profession, very similar to the AMA, which is the American Medical Association.
Right.
So that particular organization just supports our profession. So it gives us guidance, it gives us resources for wellness type things, it gives us professional guidance and that type of thing. And it also is an avenue for communication for different federal regulations. So there's also the VVMA, which is the Virginia Veterinary Medical Association, which does the same thing but on a state level. And then we have the regional, the SVMA, which is the Southside VMA, which is it expands from Halifax to Martinsville, so it's just a small area. So we build from the regional to the state, then to the national organizations. And I am actually currently serving as the alternate delegate for Virginia to the AVMA. And then our delegate is Dr. Erin Casey from Northern Virginia, who actually works for BI, which is one of the drug companies. And we have, as far as meetings and things, the AVMA House of Delegates, we meet twice a year, once in the winter and once in the summer. And the summer meeting is always in conjunction with the AVMA convention, which rotates across the country. And the reason we decided to talk today is because this year's convention was actually in Washington, D.C. So going back to some of the regulatory type things that the AVMA does, it gave us the chance to actually meet with some of the congressional party members. And in the winter, when we have our House of Delegates meeting, it's actually in conjunction with the Veterinary Leadership Conference, which is it's always in Chicago. It's a cold place to go in January, but I think it's a cheap place to get a good hotel and a good conference center. But that leads me to the point that the AVMA does help us focus on leadership within our profession as well. So not only within ourselves, but also within our veterinary teams. And I think that's important, and that's an area that I've seen has really grown even in even in my 10 years being a vet, that we've tried to focus on it, and we've tried to help the rest of our staff learn and create leadership within the team, and I think that's a very important.
And I'd like to give a shout out to you for that. I mean, I think that you've been on that leadership team and actually worked together with other people to develop programs that we can take and use inside our individual practices to do a better job of leading our teams and being more organized and communicating better. And I'll also like to toot your horn a little bit and say, out of the state of Virginia, we have a delegate and an alternate delegate who are selected to represent our state, and you are one of those people. So it's an honor to have you from our practice doing that.
It's pretty cool. It's a little intimidating at first. The reason I got involved in this is I did, when we first created our Southside VMA, somebody was like, hey, we need a delegate to go from Southside to Virginia, and I'm like, I can't do this. And then I developed those relationships with the VVMA, and so one of which was Dr. Casey, and then I actually did the leadership program through the AVMA, and that's kind of how I got involved with all this. And it's really interesting, but I have to shout out to Dr. Smith because he encourages growth in all of us as a team, and I think that's very important because we don't see that across the profession. And you go to some of the AVMA meetings and they talk about how 10, 15 years ago everybody sitting in those seats were old retired guys that's who was leading our profession, and it's nice to have the opportunity to be one of the younger people and the younger generation that's we're the ones that are going to be the up and coming ones, not the ones that have. I mean, it's good to have both sides, I guess, is my point. So I appreciate the support and the encouragement and kind of like hey, you can do that, you can do this.
I think it goes to our mission as a family. Everybody who works here, we try to encourage them to to grow and pursue their dreams and to better themselves however they want to. And I think you're a great example of how politics is supposed to work. It's like you were actively practicing, and you're in the SVMA, our little group from Martinsville to South Boston and Farmville, and we meet together and we talk about issues, and she takes those issues straight to the state and then on to the federal level, and we can make decisions that way.
Yeah, and that's another thing I did forget to mention. The VVMA, we do, Aaron and I, the delegate for Virginia, the VVMA has board meetings 4 to 5 times throughout the year. So we go and, like Dr. Smith said, we talk about issues from our region that are then pertinent to Virginia, and then ultimately 2 times a year we go to the AVMA convention. So it's kind of a ladder step there, but it is good to have those connections and communication, and don't feel like you're in your small little world in Danville, that it's like, it's a small profession, and there's a lot of different opportunities within the profession, but ultimately a lot of us have the same base issues and the same core values, and that's important to know. Like, hey, this person from Iowa that's a large animal vet has the same struggles as me that's a small animal vet that's in Virginia. Some of them are the same struggles, but some of them are different struggles, but we're still fighting the same thing and growing in the same way. And that's the really cool thing, is we have a lot of growth opportunities in the profession, and throughout our, it's not just the vets either, it's the veterinary team. I mean, Sophie's been our treasurer for the SVMA, or not treasurer, secretary for ever since we started that. So I think that's good to have leadership opportunities, not just in the veterinarians, and I think we've encouraged that within our practice, and it's nice to see the encouragement of growth in the profession as well. So.
And it's brought us closer together with other local veterinarians, because
absolutely.
Before now, for the last 20 years, we didn't have our group, and it's like everybody's working all the time. We don't ever get to meet each other. So we just talk on the phone sometimes. Really great. If anybody is listening and wants to know more about the veterinary profession, or you're interested in going to school to be a veterinarian, or you want to know more about the AVMA or anything like that, please give us a call at the clinic, or you can make a comment below and we'll get back with you.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. See you next week.